Ships have arrived.
Welcome
Waiting for your command.
to, I already don't know what they're talking about. How cool would it be if Relic, like, chat implemented Twitch emotes? Like, what if you could type Kappa in the game chat? I don't know why they would do that, but, like, still, that would be hilarious. It's probably, like, not even illegal for them to do that. But it would still be really funny. Maybe, I wonder, what if you're ever able to mod your game to do that, though? What a great mod that would be. I would totally use that mod. Anyway, this game is going to be Hajas versus Angel of Death, also known as Angel of Tilt, apparently. That's another joke I already don't get. That's probably a... Is that a poker term? He's on tilt, I guess. I don't know. It's going to be Hajas playing with shock motor, shock rifle, and guard motor against Angel of Tilt's no commander, no bulletins, apparently. So that's
Grenadier squad is ready.
gonna be hard, as Osthair, especially. If you were like U.S. forces, maybe. I mean, he's not gonna have Tigers or smoke or anything. So I'm not sure how he's gonna pull this off. I know Hajas isn't like that great though, so I mean neither is he though. Neither of these. This is more of a medium skill game. So anything can happen. We'll see what happens. Pyo's engaging against combat engineers here in the south. They're gonna take up a green cover position right there, charging into close range. Conscripts moving up on the flank will win that engagement. Conscripts just hiding behind this hedge for now. Gonna make an attempt for the munitions point, but Grenadiers are positioned inside the building. This squad grabs the center and moves to support there in the north. Oddly late at capturing the fuel, or generally even doing anything up here. By sticking this squad in this building and not leaving, he's not capping any territory here in the early game. He's really gonna slow down his capture of the north. There, and this squad of Pyos obviously loses. The south engagement will be forced away. In the south, conscripts moving to take control of the center VP. Conscripts in this green... Did those Grenadiers charge out of the house towards those cons? I'm pretty sure that happened. Obviously that didn't work. Never do that. That's terrible. I don't know why he would have done that. Other than just to try and preserve his hold on the munitions point. But holding a munitions point is not as important as preserving your manpower as Osthair. I mean, they're both important, but manpower is the most important. And not being forced to retreat is also extremely important. Retreating is bad. Retreating is better than letting your squad get wiped, but if you ever have to retreat, that is bad. Because that's time you're not spending capping, and that's time you're not spending engaging and supporting your units that need support and engagements on the front line. Needs to get that squad back to the front line to help him against these conscripts which are trying to get in range for a Molotov. Fortunately, they were not able to do so. Get pinned on the approach, will be forced to retreat right there. Hajas probably shouldn't have done that. Frontal assault without any flanking squads. Another thing to keep in mind, a frontal assault by a lone squad on a machine gun is generally not a very good idea. And that's exactly why it's not going to work. Although he did almost get in Molotov range. A couple squads need to keep moving and active here in the north. This may be a conscious decision by him to camp on the munitions in green cover, but he needs this fuel point. It's almost 5 minutes in. 5 minutes in with no fuel point as Osthair is pretty bad. Pretty bad. He's already built a bunker too after 3 Grenadier machine gun corps. I guess that's okay. I think that's a bad idea, though. I don't think your first 60 munitions should ever be on healing as Osthair. I'm not an Osthair player, so I understand that, I completely forgot my thought, because I briefly read chat. It is a poker thing? Okay, I thought so. It means you're on tilt. When you're on tilt, it means that you're playing poorly, because you're shaken up. What was I talking about again? Oh yeah, I'm not an Osthair player, so you can take my opinion on this with a grain of salt, but it seems like players seem to have more success when they spend their first 60 on a flamethrower, especially on medium range maps. That's what I was saying. So, something to keep in mind. Grenadiers will be forced from the building over here by a flamethrower. Taking up a position in green cover. No, Paul, I still have a couple fast lane games to go even after this one. I still have 2 more after this. Which I really want to get the fast lane cleared up tonight. If I can. I don't know how long they are, so I don't know how long this one is. And it's already 1 a.m., so I don't know. We'll see. MG-42 in the building. Does not manage to suppress those squads. And jumping up to the strategic point right there.
This territory is ours. Soldiers ready.
Couple squads healing and reinforcing in the base. And Maxim's on the field, mortar in production. And it looks like Hajas is going to get everything under his control here in the north. Conscripts taking control of all the various points, trying to get that fuel capped. Clearly, Angel of Death is gonna start to struggle as the match progresses. He still has no access to, for example, redistribute resources or the Stug E, which most Oster's doctrinal features don't really start to kick in until 3 CPs or higher, granted, so that isn't really going to matter yet, but it's starting to get to that stage of the game. Hajas, meanwhile, does have access to all of his doctrinal features starting at 2 CPs. He could start building guards or shocks or heavy mortars at his leisure. Has not chosen to do so yet, though, operating instead on Tier 2. Going with Maxim and a mortar here.
We are suffering losses.
And that squad of grenadiers just... Or no, Pyos. Got wiped. A overly optimistic attempt to take control of that strategic point. Grenadiers working on the munitions here in the south, and a couple squads are trying to get control of territory in the north back. Apparently a full retreat by these two conscript squads. No, they have full health. Little weird, but alright. Maxim takes up a position there in the church. And these two squads are making their way south to push away the grenadiers on the munitions, which they should be able to do, catching them in red cover with superior numbers at short range. Be an easy win, maybe. There they go. One model lost. Here in the north, these two squads of Grens taking control of the munitions and fuel. Unopposed, in fact. And this mortar needs to move to a more aggressive location to continue firing. Angel of Death is purchasing himself a scout car.
Enemy contact! Awaiting orders. We are taking losses. Watch out! Grenade!
Grenadiers are forced to retreat by a Molotov right there. Scout car is on its way to try and maybe bleed these conscripts a little bit, but AT grenades have been researched. So he needs to kite. He needs to kite very carefully. Or just charge straight into point blank range. That's also an option. AT grenade gets a 5% crit right there. Engine is destroyed. Second squad of conscripts is going to oorah straight into the scout car and probably destroy it. So much for the 2-2-1. It did kill like one conscript before it went down, but I wouldn't say that was a particularly good return on investment right there. Grenadiers taking control of the cutoff, though. At least enough bleed dealt to those conscripts to force a retreat, but that was a pretty costly engagement. Io's taking control of the munitions there in the south. LMG Grenadiers moving to get a little more territory down there. Pretty much unopposed. These guards need to get moving to counter, and the Maxim in this house hasn't really done anything this game. And neither has the mortar. So a lot of manpower investment here by Hajas that just isn't doing anything for him, and that's why his map control is not nearly what it could be.
Installed a field hospital at headquarters. Taking losses! Incoming round! The enemy is encroaching on our territory.
LMG Grenadiers positioning themselves in green cover here for this engagement against the munitions, on the munitions point. Rifle grenade looks like it could force that retreat. The flamethrower is also falling quite low. Molotov toss from the squad on the flank.
We are losing territory.
But, dodges it, gets clear. Mortar inflicts 1 kill, but no big deal. Grenadiers will take the engagement. Meanwhile, the south is still completely uncontested by Hajas this game. He's sending nothing down there. The squad of guards is finally going to actually move into an engagement, though. Finally. I said finally twice in one sentence. That's redundant.
Supply sector under attack. Your predecessor died a hero.
Grenadiers will retreat right there. Rifle grenade on the squad in green cover. Doesn't do all that much. They'll be able to stick around and get control of this munitions point, but the fuel in the south is being harassed. And the south is still completely uncontested by Hajas. He needs to get something down there. He does have 4 conscripts. Guards, flamethrower, a really strong core of infantry. He's just not using it that effectively right now. Sending the entire blob south to push away one squad of grenadiers may be a bit of an overcommitment to the forces to the south. But he'll definitely win that engagement. Might be able to wipe it on retreat as well, since they are a little bit overextended without vision or support of what might be coming. MG42 is probably going to need to get out of that building. Oh, what just happened right there? Wow. I don't know what I just missed, but I saw a lot of body parts, and there's no squad of guards left. So I guess it was a rifle grenade, yeah. Some sort of miracle rifle grenade just wiped that squad of guards. They will recover the PTRS and DP machine gun. Grenadiers jump into green cover to engage against those conscripts, which they will easily defeat thanks to the brand new weapons they just picked up. Meanwhile, here in the south, the blob has forced a retreat from that grenadier squad, but it gets away very narrowly. Hajas needs to not blob cap. Blob capping is rather inefficient, needs to spread out and take the territory a little bit faster. Counter half blob is on its way. It's not a full blob, just a half blob. On its way to engage against the slightly larger blob down here. LMGs should be able to win at range against conscripts. They should probably focus fire the flamethrower if it tries to get in range for this engagement. Will position himself in yellow cover here for this engagement. Firing at conscripts. The squad is going to Uber on to close range to try and maybe get a Molotov off, or at least deny this cover. Bios move to engage against the combat engineer squad. Will force them to retreat in their red cover position, and the LMGs are slowly winning at range against these conscripts. Jump into some green cover there. Rifle grenade off target, doesn't really hit anything, but the engagement's won. Everything will be forced to retreat right here. In the center, fresh squad of guards engaging against the Vet 3 Grenadiers right there. It's kind of a PTRS DP fight right now that the Grenadiers are winning. Couple good PTRS snipes right there. Hajas will try and pick up a couple of his dropped weapons and retreat. Grenadiers will win the engagement, take control of the munitions. They are Vet 3 with 26 kills. I don't know what they were before they super blasted that last guard squad, but clearly they're off to an excellent start this game. Tier 3 up here in Angel of Death's base, and we'll have access to the Panzer IV quite soon. Meanwhile, Hajas has 260 fuel after having gone Tier 2. He has tons of fuel in the bank, has not teched in any way, shape, or form. Just going to start spamming T-34. 85 is when the time comes. He's about 2 CPs away from being able to do that.
Vehicles can be marked and targeted. Guard rifle infantry squads can now be called to fight for the motherland.
Two squads of guards making their way towards the south. Maxim still has not really moved out of the church right here. Grenadiers will recover that dead MG42 in the middle after got blasted by that mortar. The mortar, again, I feel like the tier 2 in general from the Soviet player hasn't really done very much. It's kind of left them AFK in the middle, but they haven't been able to contribute that well for cost. Spend a lot on these two weapons. Now they're engaging. I don't know why Angel of Death would walk his machine gun up into a mortar and machine gun. Clearly, that wasn't going to accomplish anything. He will be forced to retreat right there. Panzer IV is in production. And two squads of Grenadiers are on their way north to try and push away this next push.
The sector has been cut off.
squad of Krens gets pinned right there. It's not able to round the corner away from that Maxim. It's gonna have to retreat. I don't know why he's sticking around. Well, actually, maybe it won't have to retreat now because the two models that were exposed to Maxim fire are alive. Those conscripts made no attempt to retreat and got wiped by the Grens. One squad forced to retreat here in the south. Two squads forced to retreat by masked grenade guards. Looks like a rifle grenade got fired during this, but engagement will go to Hajas. Two squads of guards, a little too much for those two grenadiers to take on. Everything had to retreat south. Resource and victory points will fall into Hajas' control. Grenadiers taking control of the munitions and VP up here in the north, uncontested.
We are losing supplies to the enemy.
Doesn't look like there are any engagements for the center. Minesweeper upgraded here by Angel of Death. Kind of a late Minesweeper against Soviets, but whatever. I don't think Hajas has planted any that I'm aware of. Field gun in production at about the same time the Panzer IV is going to hit the field, so pretty good timing on that. Getting it out right about the time that he's going to be needing it. Plus, T-34s are going to be hitting the battlefield very soon. Once they do, Angel of Tilt may very much struggle against them with just a Panzer IV and one AT gun. He'll have the tools he needs to manage the threat they pose, but it's probably going to give Hajas a pretty distinct advantage. Other mine going down here in the south, though. Could definitely help turn a tank engagement his way. Two squads of conscripts moving to counter down here. A couple idle squads in the base. Flamethrower needs to get moving. And Hajas needs to start thinking about manpower flow. He's going to be hitting 10 CPs well before he has the manpower for this column. And bleeding quite a lot in engagements against LMG Grens, making things pretty difficult. So much for that teller mine. That mortar just blew up that teller mine just totally randomly. Just from auto fire. Grenadiers taking control of the victory point munitions here in the south. A fresh teller mine is going down. Maxim will sprinkle a few bullets on those retreating grenadiers, but overall the battlefield is strangely quiet. These two conscript squads are not going to get reinforced while he continues floating manpower for his call-ins. I don't know why he's had so many idols. Like these guards have been sitting here in his base for an extremely long time. Needs to get them moving.
The sector is at risk.
Everything on its way north. Rest of Hajas' infantry idling in the base while he waits for the call-ins, and Angel of Death is going to capitalize on that, taking control of everything here south, grabbing the fuel, munitions, strategic point simultaneously. Yes, I did get your email, Momo, and now that you're here, I'll do your game next.
We are ready.
Grenadiers repositioning to safety.
Stand your ground. Avenge him, comrades.
Rifle grenades not going off for some reason. There it goes. Followed up by a retreat. Does pretty good damage, but the squad will survive. Also retreat. MG42 dealing good suppression will force a full retreat from that blob. And everything has to go back to base. T-34s will be in production soon. Meanwhile, the team weapons here in the center may get forced off the battlefield by the Panzer IV, which, by the way, has not really moved for a while. There's a minesweeper right here, so he knows that this area is completely clear of mines. Although, him not extending his Panzer IV will actually be good in this instance because T-34s are going to be on the field very soon. If he had moved up aggressively onto this road, his rear armor could probably have been exposed to those T-34s, which would have been bad. Oh, he just dropped two Panzerfaust on one T-34. The second one bounced, so it's irrelevant anyway, but he probably should have tried to spread the engine damage between them. Both Grenadier squads will get away alive. This double AT gun. Just be careful of the Maxim in the building. Hajas taking quite a bit of damage right there, will be forced away.
Okay, that's the last one.
Oh, what is that Panzer IV doing? It just peeked against two T-34-85s with no support. I mean, I guess he just wanted to grab vision. Takes a little bit of damage, inflicts none in return. The T-34s will be fully repaired very soon.
Watch out! Enemy hit us from the rear! Ein Ganzes Pack is on fire!
New anti-tank gun has arrived. The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
Well, considering those T-34s are on the field, Hajas certainly isn't doing a whole lot with them. I don't think I really understand what this is all about. But, you know, whatever. Pilots trying to throw down a teller mine right there. The T-34s are pulling slightly back. Soviet blob making its way up here towards the north. Might get suppressed by a machine gun again. Grenadiers are chased off though. PTRS got dropped by somebody. Grenadiers have to retreat away from the south. T-34's advance across this map is moving at a snail's pace right now. And he also has no minesweeper support, so these teller mines are a very real threat. I feel like he's going to drive those T-34s right over that thing. I feel like both of those might hit that. Oh my god, that Panzer IV wants to bait them so hard right now.
We are losing a sector.
Soviet blob working on the north does get suppressed by the MG-42, so not good.
We fight bravely for the Reich.
There's one AT gun down here. You might want to consider moving that. Oh no! Oh, I knew it! I knew that was gonna happen. One mine, two tanks. Or two tanks, one mine. I messed up. I'm sorry, everyone. I messed up the meme. I memed wrong. I did it wrong. These are both fucked. That one got abandoned. Pretty sure that's GG. I don't know if Hajas is gonna be able to recover from that. That's I can't even believe that happened. Also, rifle grenade on the tank. Rifle grenades don't do any damage to tanks, I don't think. The vast majority of the time. Nice attempt though. You might even be able to save that. Pretty sure that Angel of Death is going to get a free tank out of that engagement on its way back to the base. Hajas doesn't have a whole lot of stuff on the field. His next set of columns isn't going to arrive for a while because his map control has been abysmal for the last 10 minutes. Fresh Panzer IV on the field, by the way. As no commander at all, Oster, you might want to consider a transition to Tier 4 at some point. It's probably still a little early for that. You might want to wait until like 30 minutes if applicable. But generally you don't want to stick to Tier 3 all game long unless your Panzer IV micro is really on point. Because it's nice to have a Panther on the field. For its pod cap, it's quite nice. And of course, you always want to have the option of a Broom Bear. No, it's not a real Oster game if you didn't make a Broom Bear.
Taking hits!
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
What's the flank? They're picking us off one by one!
Our opponents are seizing the sector.
Building will collapse under mortar fire right there, and the squads of guards doing what they can here. The T-34-85 did successfully make it all the way back to the Oster base. Panzer IV should move up to engage. It is a tank. It's pretty good against guards. I mean, they're strong, but not that strong. Grenade almost wipes those grenadiers right there. LMG. Our guards have no choice but to retreat, though. 34 will get repaired soon. Probably try and get this Panzer IV moving, try and do something with it. Although, in all fairness, he does have a triple cap going in pretty much the entire map. It definitely pushes opponent all the way back into his base easily. Nothing on the field to counter 2 Panzer IVs except for one field gun.
If you want to live.
No engineer, Dan, it is not. There is an umlaut
Have reduced our foes
over
to
the
100
A,
points.
which means it is not pronounced bar, it is pronounced bear. Only with a German accent. If you can do a German accent, which I cannot.
That's it. Fully reinforced.
Not very well, anyway. Like, the super extra lazy American pronunciation is Brumbar. Which is completely wrong. I just do the mostly wrong pronunciations of
Enemy is down
Brumbear.
to 75 points.
Full page of notes. Alright, Angel of Death. I hope you took extra good notes on my Brumbear pronunciation, though. That's the most important part of this cast. That's definitely the most important part. 2 squads of guards making their way towards the south. Do what they can. This AT gun is completely unsupported, by the way. just an unsupported AT gun just hanging out down here.
Points remaining.
It will react to spotting those infantry, fortunately. Trying to move to safety.
We are
Generally, with your
losing
AT
the
guns,
sector.
when you move to work the flanks of the map, because there's the threat over there, once the threat is neutralized or disengages, you should move your AT, you should rotate it back center, rotate it back to the safety of your other forces. Because leaving an AT gun just stranded in open field is a pretty good way to hand an AT gun over to your opponent. There's the fresh set of T-34s right there.
How does that look?
They're being fired upon.
We are close to victory. Our bunker can now accommodate an MG-42.
There goes that Grenadier squad.
The bunker has been approved with a
Rifle grenade is off target. You should definitely retreat. He's not going to win this engagement with 1 squad of Grens. You should never stick around for too long in an engagement that you have definitely lost, by the way. Just retreat. Just retreat. You don't have to wait until the squad is down to 1 man. T-34, the stolen T-34 moves to engage against these. Focus firing that tank instead of trying to clear the AT gun. And they may be successful with marked vehicle. It needs to keep kiting. Looks like it will get to safety. The Panzer IV is moving up on the flank. That is also way overextending. Now it's 100% going to die. I don't know what he was thinking. Suiciding like that. It's trapped now between the Osterheim base and these 2 Panzer IVs. Doesn't look like there's any way you can salvage this game. It may have been sort of possible with that fresh set of T-34s, but now it's definitely not. A stolen AT gun will get cleared right there. T-34s both destroyed. The stolen T-34 is still alive. Will get repaired in the base, and the Allies are about to slide down to zero VPs. All forces forced retreat out of the center, and that's it. GG. Axis wins. Well, I would say that other than micro mistakes, there's a few post-game notes I can make. For one thing, I don't think Tier 2 was a bad decision, but I also don't think Tier 2 was used all that effectively this game. Mortar didn't seem like it contributed that much, and the Maxim sat AFK inside of this building for the entire game. Racked up 6 kills. On the one hand, yes, it does create a zone along this road that Angel of Death cannot use, but at the same time, he probably should have kept it in motion, utilizing it to more dynamically, more fluidly take territory, especially the cutoff here in the north, which went pretty much not that contested for pretty much the entire game. I also think Hajas could have microed his infantry a little bit less lazily here in the north, just generally sending 3 squads in a blob for the VP and getting forced to retreat multiple times by 1 machine gun. Not a very good situation. You need to set up flanks and try and take out that team weapon when he had more opportunities to do so. His tank micro was obviously terrible because he hit 1 Teller mine with 2 tanks and lost them both immediately in their very first engagement. So it's very important, of course, as we saw, to support your tanks with a minesweeper when you're pushing into territory that you have not had vision of for a significant amount of time, because you don't know if there might be mines right there. And yeah, that probably pretty much covers my thoughts on things Hajas could have done better, things Angel of Tilt could have done better. First of all, always bring commanders. I should hope that one goes without saying. It's pretty much impossible to win without a commander the vast majority of the time, unless you're much more skilled than your opponent or he makes some sort of horrible error, or your US forces are maybe over Commando West. Good usage of Teller Mines, though. I like that. Pretty good usage of AT guns for the most part, sticking with support. And I would say his build decisions were pretty standard. I think at some point he may have wanted to consider a transition to Tier 4, but that can be tricky. Timing that can be tricky. But obviously, I mean, that Teller Mine pretty much was the game. Once he hit that Teller Mine, that was GG. So from that point forward, it was pretty much irrelevant. Good game. Axis wins.